stratosphere, radical chic, the me generation, the right stuff. All brilliantly incisive terms invented by one of the great chroniclers of American society during the last 50 years, Tom Wolfe. The man in the white suit, with a sartorial style as elegant and as sharp as his writing.
Wolfe adopted the white suit as a trademark early in 1962, when he landed a job on the New York Herald Tribune. The young dandy from Richmond, Virginia, certainly cut a dashing figure in metropolitan New York. But it was his distinctive brand of high-energy, experimental reporting about popular culture, dubbed the new journalism, that really got him noticed.
I don't know why anybody objects to the megalomania of the American automobile. They're not built to move your body in the first place. They're built to transport your mind.
The 60s was the decade that formed Wolfe, and one he was instrumental in defining. But he's probably now best known for his 1987 novel, The Bonfire of the Vanities, a blistering satire on New York's obsession with money, ambition, and greed.
Now Wolfe's written a new novel, Back to Blood, which promises, or rather threatens, to do for Miami what A Bonfire of the Vanities did for New York. Namely, expose the simmering class and race tensions, the seething political corruption, and the human and sexual foibles of the city's residents. So, Tom, why did you choose Miami as the setting for this book?
Well, my original idea was to write a book about immigration to the U.S. And then I don't know how it dawned on me, but wait a minute, Miami is everybody you can think of, including not just people from Latin America, but people from Russia, huge Haitian population. And the Venezuelans are coming in now because of Chavez.
Did you choose Miami as this melting pot, I suppose would be the cliche, although in your book it's more like a sort of simmering pot?
Actually I think of it as a melting pot that's full of different metal units, but they never melt. They kind of rattle.
They rattle against each other.
And the Cubans politically dominate the place. It's the only city that I can find in the world that is run politically by people from another country, with another language and another culture. It's a very unusual situation. And the American blacks, who've been there a long time usually, really resent the Cuban police. In slums like this one, Overtown, black people looked upon the Cuban cops as foreign invaders who one day dropped from the sky like paratroopers and took over the police department and started shoving black people around, black people who had lived in Miami forever.
You were never an armchair journalist, and you've not been an armchair novelist. How important do you think it is that you get out into the field, into life? Well,
frankly, I think it's all important. And whenever a young writer, and there are not many of them, pays me the compliment of asking me, about how to get started in this field of writing, I always say, first, leave the building and just take a look at what's out there.
I gather that somebody sort of got wind of this research that you were doing and actually followed you around for a while with a camera.
I owe a lot to him. Oscar Corral is his name. He was a former reporter for the Miami Herald, and he was the first person that took me to some of these places like Hialeah.
So, Tom, what's the basic question you have about Santeria? Is there something you want to know about?
I could ask you this: where in a house would you typically find these figures? They're big figures.
If you were trying to find the one big theme of Back to Blood, what would you say it was?
My good friend John Timoney, who used to be mayor of Miami, said, New York is all about money, Washington is all about power, and Miami is all about sex.
Well, there's a lot of sex in the book.
when I was in Miami doing research, I went to a strip club. I swear it was research. The image I remember most distinctly was of the girls. They're totally nude, and their backside is to the audience, and men, you want to believe how many numbers, come up with dollar bills and put them in the cleft of their bottoms. I mean, I'm talking about things that look like a peacock's tail. There's so many pieces of green paper.
But what I can't quite work out is whether you're fascinated by the sort of seething, weird energy of it all, or whether you think it's actually, horrible for these girls to be doing. How desperate must they be? Or I can't work out your attitude.
I don't have an attitude of Christian charity towards it and the fate of these poor girls.
But see, what do you think that they're exerting their economic freedom?
And I wouldn't put it in theoretical. I just think it's wild, and somebody should write about this. I mean, I love to find things that are really extraordinary. Everybody knows about, but they haven't been written about, like this Columbus Day regatta. "Come on," said Norman with a lewdly happy face. "This you've got to see. Now it begins." The blonde with the breasts did a few mild shimmies with her hips, showing her chorus of admirers how taut her pectoral glories were, how they stuck out, defying gravity. "What begins?" she said. "The regatta is essentially an orgy," said Norman. "That's what I want you to see." But he wasn't looking at Magdalena when he said it. Like every other male on the boat, he only had eyes for the sprung-free naked breasts.
At the end of writing the book, did you feel warmth towards Miami? Did you feel, Miami's a place that you love, or your feelings more ambivalent than that?
No, it was more, look at the people. They are remarkable. I'm not saying look how wacky they are or how bad they are. It's just, get an eyeful. You're going to enjoy this. Has been my feeling with everything I've done, whether it was custom car makers in California or...
You've identified something that's amazing and you want to tell the world about it.
And I love it when people say, like John Updike did, your book is not literature, it's journalism. I think, good, that's great.
Must be a good book.
Yeah, I'd read it.
It's been a pleasure to meet you.
Andrew?